One of the things I admire about the Savannah Bananas baseball team is that they are always on top of trying new things. And if something hits the news, they're probably going to have a trendy reel posted within 24 hours to capitalize on that news. They do an amazing job about creating content quickly and pivoting fast. In fact, they try new things at every single game, and that's multiple games a week. It's pretty impressive. So when I interviewed Emily Cole, the co-founder of Savannah Bananas, I had to ask her, how do you keep that speedboat mentality? How do you create a team where you are able to pivot fast? Because we know as online content creators that we often find ourselves pivoting, and sometimes our team isn't exactly prepared for that. So Emily is going to be talking about how they keep a speedboat mentality on their team as they're constantly making changes and testing new ideas. Okay, so talk to me about speed to implementation, because when I went to the game in Nashville, I got to talk to Jesse for just a moment after the game because he's so involved. He's there, saying hi to everyone. And he showed me the piece of paper for that game of the new things that they were trying that night, because he does truly live out what he talks about. You do it in the game. You're always trying new things. It's not about failure. We all talk about this in business. It's you either win or you learn. You never fail, right? We all say this in business, but we don't actually act out that way. Like, we don't take risks and we don't implement fast enough that would make anybody believe that we actually don't fear failure. But you all do. You really implement, you take these ideas, and it's like 24 hours later, this idea is happening, or 5 days later, this idea is happening. It's not sitting on somebody's desk put into a project management system, and maybe we'll get to it in quarter 4. So how does that play out? Like, first off, how do you do that with your employees? How do you get them to pivot like that and be willing to try and implement? And then how do you get that feedback loop of teaching them and learning from it as a team? So we've tried this. How do we know? Should we keep trying this? Because we talk a lot on this podcast about how employees get overwhelmed very quickly because we have new ideas as visionaries and creators, and we constantly add new projects and new tasks all the time. And then all of a sudden they look back and they're like, oh, wait, I'm doing 50 more things than I was when I first got hired. So how do you create this culture within the team of being willing to try and pivot and change and not needing that kind of everyday structure? And then how do we get that feedback loop so that we know what ideas we're throwing out, what ideas we're moving forward with?
Yeah, absolutely. I think this is something that we can all get better at. But again, I'll go back to the beginning process when we're bringing somebody in, especially if they're going to be in the digital space or the creative teams, the entertainment teams. We'll say early on in the interview process that we operate like a speedboat, not like a cruise ship or a cargo ship, which cruise ships we can talk about later, but we can't operate like those. We have to be able to operate like a speedboat. When something goes viral online, we have to be able to jump on that and be relevant that night. That is our time to attack and to do things. So as a mentality overall, our whole culture knows we are going to move like a speedboat. And so again, they're told that early on. They know there's going to be early adapting. They know that there is going to be quick shifts in things. And everybody is okay with that because they've been told early on that is how we operate. If you are a very calculated, very slow thinking person, that's fine, but it's not going to mesh well with this company because that's not how we operate. And then I think just by glorifying taking tests and falling on our face and doing things, it gives people permission to fail. So yes, we all talk about how it's good to fail and you'll learn, but we say constantly constraints foster creativity, guys. If we try something and it doesn't work, or we don't have the budget for it, or something horrible happens, that is going to lead to a better solution the next time. And so people aren't really afraid to test things because we know the next time it's going to be even better because we did fail. And so we just have that, again, that mentality of like, hey, it's okay. You failed. A lot of the things that we do, I mean, it's a live event. We call audibles all the time. That's just common phrases in our offices, like call an audible, do something different. In the live entertainment space, that's a pretty common thing. And so if we just give people permission to move quickly and try things, I think that it allows them to really believe in that. Now, I will say, as we've grown, we've got a ton of full-time employees now. We're kind of at that space of, okay, maybe our leadership team is more equipped to move like the speedboat. We're the ones that have to zoom in and make decisions. Maybe everybody else we're teaching, okay, let's try a prototype before we go to the launch. So we are kind of in that space where we're figuring out, do we just tell everybody, hey, pedal to the metal, go on the gas. And we're figuring out at what level, at what layer in the company do you kind of have that privilege of like, just go with it. But again, we're still such a small, close knit family that there hasn't really been any sticking points there. But I will just say that can be a friction point of saying, hey, does everybody have permission to just go as fast as you can? Or are there some situations where, hey, we should probably write up a blueprint for this. We should have a prototype. We should think this through before, we push submit. So we're still learning that too, but that's how we look at it right now.